What is spirit of the game?
It's knowing the rules and when they apply.
It's avoiding body contact wherever possible.
It's keeping a positive attitude and enjoying the sport.
It's being fair-minded even when the game is on the line.
It's communicating respectfully with your opponent.
We'll take defense. Yeah, it's just like just up now. We'll take easy. Yeah. All right. Sorry. It's all right. Good luck. Good luck. Thank you.
Perfect. I'm here with Molly from Rogue. How do you feel about the toss?
Pretty good. Would have been nice to win it, but you can't win them all, so we'll just win the game, you know.
Fair enough. That's a good way to put it. How are you feeling about your run this morning?
It was such a good game this morning. It was probably one of the best games we've had all season. We just stepped up. We knew it was a do or die game, so we really just stepped up and performed.
Awesome. Were there any highlights from that game?
Oh my gosh, so many highlights. There were so many big grabs, so many big layout blocks, layout Ds, all of the things, you know. We just really stepped up and did the thing.
So with the cameras on you for this game, are you expecting to bring out something similar?
Hopefully. I think the girls are a little bit excited to be on camera. Some of it's the first time on camera, so we'll just see what we can do and hopefully come out with the win.
Perfect. I've got one more question. How are you feeling about coming up against Manly?
So excited. We love playing Manly. It's a little bit of a love-hate relationship with Manly. Like, we love to play them, but we also hate to play them because we know it's going to be a really tough game.
Awesome. I'm really excited to see what you do out there. Thank you for your time. Over to Daniel. Thank you so much.
One of the captains of Manly, Holly. You won the task, pick defence. Explain that one for me.
So I think we have a good defensive line. I think coming out firing on a defence gets your team in the right mentality, and it also means after half you come out on offence. So a bit of tactics there, but obviously as Molly called up that way, the wind's going to play a factor in that for sure.
How have you found the conditions here in Canberra?
Changing, yeah. So I think it's a bit colder today, so warming up your fingers makes a big difference. The wind's kind of picking up, so you see a lot more zone, and I think for our pre-season in Sydney, most New South Wales teams haven't had a lot of practice in wind because we have had pretty good conditions so far. So it's been interesting seeing some new players kind of come out because of that.
So how has the prep been with COVID and everything?
We've been really fortunate. Obviously we're based in Northern Beaches, so we did have a bit of a lockdown over Christmas, but we have a big squad, which means every week at training we're getting full numbers to have 7-on-7 games. One of the reasons we picked a big squad was we were aware that coming here, if anyone has a cold, it makes a big difference. So it has been a bit haphazard in a lot of ways, but we prepared for that, and I think everyone's got a really good mentality going into it. Yeah.
Thank you, Holly. Good luck for the game.
Thank you.
Now, we'll jump back to our commentators for this game after this short break.
Ultimate is a non-contact team sport, with 7-a-side on the field and played with a flying disc.
The field is 100 metres long, including 18-metre end zones, and is 37 metres wide.
A goal is scored by completing a pass in the end zone.
Ultimate is self-refereed.
Players are responsible for upholding the rules and for resolving fouls and violations themselves.
Each point starts with a pull.
Teams line up in opposing end zones, and the defensive team will throw to the offensive team to start play.
After every goal, teams swap ends.
The team that scored starts the next point on defense.
The disc is moved around the field by throwing it to teammates.
Once players have the disc, they set a pivot foot like netball or basketball and can't move from there.
Players have 10 seconds to throw the disc.
This is counted out loud by the closest defender.
An incomplete pass is a turnover, no matter who touched it last.
When a foul or violation call is made, players will discuss whether they agree on what happened.
If they agree, the call is uncontested and the fouled player retains possession.
If they don't agree, the call is contested and play resets to where the last completed pass was.
If a player anticipates a collision with another player, they can call pick to pause the play.
If the pause didn't affect the outcome of a throw, play resumes.
If it did affect the outcome, play resets to the last completed pass.
First to 15 goals wins the game.
If the game clock reaches 100 minutes, time cap is called and the score target is reduced to one more than the current winning score.
For example, if the score at time cap is 12-10, the new target score is 13.
You can't run the clock down. Teams have to score the last goal to win the game.
And welcome back to the 2021 Australian Ultimate Championships, brought to you on Kayo Sports as your weekend Kayo freebie. Simon Talbot here at the commentary desk with Laura Hutton.
Good afternoon. It is going to be a cracker of a game this afternoon. We have Manly from Sydney up against Rogue, also from Sydney.
The Sydney Derby, two very well-established clubs. Manly have been around the scene since 2002, but a big resurgence into Division 1 competition the last couple of years, getting the silver medal last year. The players to watch, number 19, their captain Holly Reeve, who will be a good distributor of the disc. And number 14, Di Warman, a veteran of the Frisbee scene, big, tall receiver. She'll be a big target. Also, number 10, Lacey Moore, another veteran of the scene, who they'll do very well in these windy conditions. And we take a look at the Rogue squad.
So with the Rogue squad, we will be looking out for number 24, Brie Edgar, as well as number 27, Kaya Weir. Both Firetel reps, but see them both around the disc quite a lot. Looking at an up-and-comer, number 13, Angela Pigeon, selected for the under-20s junior campaign. She'll be one to watch.
Cool. Kaya Weir, very dominant receiver. It's going to be a battle in the air this game, I think. The windy conditions, they're still up and about from this morning. Have died a little bit, but will definitely be a factor in this game.
They have. The wind a little bit more stable now, a little bit gusty this morning. It's still blowing consistently from the left to right of the screen. And as we watch these teams line up, getting ready for the first pull.
So we see Manly there in the black, blue and green jerseys. The blue and the green representing the surf for the sea at Manly, and the green of the ultimate fields. Holly Reeve there to send the first pull up for the first point of the game. Both teams are very large squads here, Laura.
They do. In comparison to the women's game this morning, both teams here with large squads. Rogue missing a few key players at the moment.
Barcham with the easy reset there. Brenda Lamb sends the big pull up, looking for Simone Ryan versus Holly Reeve. And Holly Reeve runs her under the desk. Ryan's followed her in, and it's gone too far for her.
Great play by Reeve there, providing that early interference and really affecting the decision-making of the receiver.
Yep, gave up a lot in height, but Manly will pick the disc up and have their first look at offence with Nikki Shires, another veteran of the team, long associated with Manly Ultimate Club. Finds Cardi. Back to Shire. She's got Reeve wide, working to this bottom side of the field. The unfortunate drop there by Annie Longley. Briek, a quick restart, and puts the right in the lap of Kaya Weir.
Great heads up from Rogue there, looking quickly, identifying a free player in the end zone, one pass offence.
And that's where you've got to take advantage of those ones on a day like today where it can be windy. You don't want to have to really extend the point any longer than you need to. If you're that close to the end zone, pick it up and go, but only if you get the clear shot. You need to look up first. And Bria saw up because she knew that Kayo was coming from a long way back.
And the first point from Rogue there, not a clean offense. We did see a couple of turnovers.
Yeah.
And now Manly will receive the disc coming downfield on offense.
Both teams well in contention for the national title this weekend.
Second and third in the standings thus far.
Second v third, wow. Mandy Lee with the pull. Gets about 40 metres of distance, but plenty of hang time to allow them to set up Di Warman. No easy reset, so has to go lateral to Perryman. Perryman finds Kershaw. To Bengtson. Into Warman. Warman with a great outside inflict to the advantage of Bombardier. Can't reel it in. Goes flying, puts the body on the line, does her best.
She does, gets her feet right up there, Bombardieri. Manly sticking to a person-to-person defence for this point.
Bob Teresa puts a big forehand up, looking for Maddie Owens. And she comes down with it. She's got a player out in advantage. Epstein sends it back inboard. A great long shot up the line for Maddie Owens again. Does she keep her toes in line? They're celebrating. Looks like she's in.
It's been signalled in by the Manly player in the area as well.
That's a fantastic catch by Madeline Owens.
Towing it in on the sideline. It is not easy to keep your eye on the disc and your feet inside the line when you are that close.
Oh, just the body control, just to plant the toes right in bounds and just lean right over to get that in.
And that was a great dump there after that long catch.
Well, look at this. Yep, just enough awareness just to keep the foot planted. It was a great catch by her earlier in the point too. Maddie Owens the MVP at that point, and that's a great shot too by Brandon Lamb. Putting it right up the line out of the reach of anyone from Manly. Rogue 2-0.
Early start for Rogue.
What a start. Putting the scoreboard pressure on straight away.
Yeah, but we might see Manly come up and respond here. They won't want to take this lying down.
No, of course not, of course not.
Manly are currently sitting in the second position with 3 wins this weekend.
Weah sends a pull up. Lots of hang time on this one. They're going to have that defense set nice and early. Reeve to start play, 50 from goal. Not much coming towards there. Finally finds an undershot. Looking for Lacey Moore, who can't secure it. Rare mistake from Moore.
Rogue with another offensive look here.
Eunice Chung sends the line backhand up for a quick shot, but Reeve there to cut it off. Gets a quick give-go with McDonough, who wants to move it to the near side of the field, but has to take the nearest option. Big shot down the line. Huge layout bid there. But can't reel it in. Very run and gun offense.
It was that little give-go up the line, setting them up with a lot of momentum, giving the rest of the team time to get further down the field and set up a bit of a structure.
Sarah Wentworth there, number 44 for Manly. Regarded by many as one of Australia's greatest women players, still getting it done. Weah. Quick flick over the middle. Yeep. Takes her time, uses the full stall count. Puts the throw too low for her teammate. And another shot, bang, goes up, looking for Wentworth. She's got to run this down comfortably. Has to go. And just doesn't quite get there.
Looking at that on the replay, leaves her feet, but just can't maintain control of the disc as she hits the ground.
Had it in her hands, but got to come up with it for the goal to count. Yep. Janasek. Rogue this time looking to move a bit steadier. Going for plenty of lateral movement, get a string of passes together. Kennesack, Yip and Weir. Weir pumps the backhand up, looking for Simone Ryan. No, sorry. Sarah Ethel was the one that came down with that. Oh no, Ryan.
Yeah, huge put there out into space. Chantel on the sideline, what are you seeing?
I'm seeing some strong women, I'm seeing some powerful women, and I'm seeing some smart women. The athleticism out here is amazing. For those who are watching at home that are new to the sport, this is where the bar should be set. It's great to see. I can't wait to see what they do next.
These two teams having a rivalry going back years, but there are quite a few players on each team that have represented at Australian level, have worn the green and gold for us. On Rogue, lots of under 24 representatives, a few Firetails, the women's team, a few Barramundis, the mixed team.
National mixed team, yep. Certainly seeing two teams at their peak after a 2-year absence from the Australian Ultimate Championships. But Rogue with the early ascendancy, but not to say that Manly can't get it done. We've seen them work it to their end zone a couple of times now, but able to secure those goals. Warman looking deep, but takes the easy under to Chen. Shires distributes wide to Bombadiri. Shires just going to collect those easy backwards resets. Warman pumps the big forehand up. Oh no, another heartbreaker. Taryn Anderson gets her hands out of line and puts it down.
Rogue with another shot here. They are riding the high of a universe point win against Factory this morning.
It's getting very competitive at the top. Janasek has pumped that forehand long. Owens has to go. Goes full stretch, full flight. Not far enough. Chang. Quick moving here, Warman. Manly with their second shot. And Shires this time. Finally, they get the monkey off the back, get their first goal on the board. What do you think that'll do mentally, Laura?
Oh, that's got to be a huge lift for them mentally after that missed shot in the end zone, being able to go back, do it again. Daniel.
I just spoke quickly with Sarah Perkins, who is injured this weekend, would be playing normally. I asked her about this cracking start of Rogues. She said it was all about carrying over the energy that they had just before in their Universe Point win and trying to carry that over into this game.
Yeah.
Sarah Perkins, one of the top players on Rogue. They'll be missing her this weekend for sure.
They will, but still on the sidelines, still being a loud voice and a presence on the team.
Yeah, so she's a very experienced Australian age group coach as well herself, so will definitely be able to lift the spirits of her teammates using her voice and her presence. So Manly on the board.
Coming out on defence, shooting upwind. Rogue coming on offence downwind.
You think Rogue will probably look to shoot to the end zone early just to keep that pressure on, keep that scoreboard pressure, and really pepper the end zone with lots of shots.
And it'll be interesting to see whether we see them throw long and then put a zone on to try and contain Manly down that end.
Short flat pull, gets about 40 yards of field space to defend. Edgar. Yeah, they're really blocking those downfield throws, forcing them to move laterally. Barcham, Chung. There we go, Chung pumps the backhand up as Holly Reeve is sitting right under it, has a clear shot. And beats out the two receivers, Shannon Bubb among them. Not much happening towards her. They're going to have to go for some easy resets. The Manly cutters are really backing their long throws, and the long throw goes up. I think they might have been searching for Kathleen Kershaw, but too wide, too long.
Yeah, but when there's no options coming towards the disc, the stall counts climb higher. It's a easy thing to put it long and hope that your defenders can get under it.
Defending more field space. Edgar pumps the backhand up again and easily swatted down by Kershaw. Reeve pick up with a quick restart. Sakura Toyo coming towards her, cops a bit of a hit, but straight back up on her feet. Reeve comes wide to Moore. Moore just overcooks that backhand again. Hang on to a fraction too long. Bree Edgar wants to restart quickly. Pumps the forehand. Numbers underneath it. It's going to drift wide. No one able to run that down. But yeah, we're seeing Rogue just really just at all costs just put it in the end zone. Really keep Manly on the back foot. Hold this lead.
Manly trying to come across the field, trying to use that width of the field to their advantage, but just that throw held on to maybe a second too long, throwing straight to the defender.
Lara Perryman's going to restart play for Manly, 64 from goal. Running with just a vertical formation. Good inside shot to Itoyo. Not much happening upfield for her, has to reset. Big forehand pump up at Toyo. She's got it, she's got a long shot on. Doesn't like it, urges someone to come towards her. She's got no one near her, and it's a high stall count. Reeve gives her the bailout, and she gets the next upline shot. Big layout from Toyo. Having quite the possession here. Holly Reeve also getting in on the action as well. 25 metres from goal, she puts the big forehand up. That's going to fall short. And that's an easy block there for Angela Pigeon.
It is Rogue looking, needing to look more at their under options. There's not much movement happening towards the disc.
They've moved to a horizontal formation now with, they've isolated Barcham. So they're going to try and hit her looking long, I think. But they've got tangled up in themselves, and Eunice Chung forced to go under. Hits Barcham. Gets the reset. Ecker's gone up the line, but Chung balls it down the field. It's Janasek. Janasek wants to move it towards this side of the field, open up the space a bit more. Finally finds Shannon Bubb. Bubb continues out. Pigeon goes in short, and there's a quite an ambitious bid there by Lacey Moore into the hips of Bree Edgar, and Edgar straight away signals a foul. Moore straight away, uncontested. I went a bit too hard there, Bree, sorry.
Good spirit there, easy discussion.
Yeah. Certainly a game of centimetres, and every players will find whatever they'll go as hard as they can, but acknowledge that when they've gone too far. And quick movement there, a bit too quick. Reeve's got to pick it up. She's got a couple of long cutters going deep. Doesn't like the look, so heads lateral. Moore. Plenty of options at a high side. Looks to run the run-two play with Reeve. Reeve sends a big long backhand. Few numbers underneath it. 1, 2. It's come off a couple of hands. And we've ended up with the goal. But Barcham believes she might have been bumped from behind as she's going to go up. So she's called the offensive foul. So we're going to have a discussion on what happened there, because typically happens when there's numbers underneath it. Steve Baker and Holly Halford-Smith, our game advisors, are out there listening in.
Because every impact I felt came from behind me. Yeah, I had a clear vision of the disc, and I only felt people crash into my back, so okay, really contest.
Double time. All right, I'll retract the foul. I think it was probably initiated by me. Yep. Foul call retracted. Roll the chat, ladies.
So Barcham's retracted her call there after they figured it was just incidental contact. There was just a few too many bodies under there. A bit of a bump was inevitable, I think, Laura.
Yes, in a pack grab like that, it's inevitable that there's going to be a bit of contact. It's just determining whether that contact, A, stops somebody from getting the disc, and B, could have been avoided.
So Manly's second goal on the board. Daniel.
I just spoke quickly with Maddie Owens, one of the captains. You may notice that they're all wearing bright pink scrunchies. They've got team scrunchies, do Rogue, so keep an eye out for that.
Certainly one of the more bright and colourful uniforms And they're certainly adding to that wherever they can.
They are. Manly here coming back. It's Rogue 3, Manly 2.
A crucial upwind goal there for Manly as well. So they're now on defence, heading downwind to the right side of the screen to try and peg this back to 3-all. They've put
Manly keen for a win here to retain their second spot in the seeding.
Of course, the semi-finals tomorrow afternoon will be live here on Kayo Sports. Shires puts up the ball, plenty of hang time, looking just to land it near that back corner. She's not going right for the line, but just enough to push him back and have to work up 45 metres of space. Ryan, it's a great shot there to Barcham, but she's run underneath it. It's gone over the top, and Manly have earned that turnover.
Manly setting up into a vertical stack.
Shires barking some instructions to adjust the shape of that formation. They've got 3 at the front, 3 at the back. Really two sort of separations. And Wentworth, a rare error from her. Chung, quick restart. Pumps it up looking for Simone Ryan, but Shires is there with her. Shires wins that position, but Ryan's just got the height. Tries to go over the top, but can't do it. And just gives Shires a quick tap there to say well done.
Shire's experience there showing as she gets into the position in front of that offensive player, blocking them from getting a good read on the disc.
Shires wants to wind up and send it long. Instead opts to go short to Bankson. Bankson hits the reset. Of course, Bankson getting the others. It's a good battle of the sky here between Ryan and Bankson. Both around the 6-1 mark. Warman, nice little floating shot looking for Chang, who's gone up with 2 hands. Not cleanly. There's been a few of them from Manly. Only they've been able to hang on to a couple, they'd have the lead.
Yeah, a good few underpasses. So a few passes closer to the disc, then looking long, just not able to make that last connection.
I certainly don't think they'll adjust their style at all. Ryan having 2 grabs of that one. Puts that one short. I think Bankson got a hand on that one. So not much field to defend here as Shires picks up, looks straight to the end zone, swings out to Cardi. Cardi throwing a couple of fakes, gets the defenders moving. Shires, bullet backhand down the line. That's a huge layout block by the rogue defender there. We see that again, just come in early just to cut off the angle of that pass there and got enough on it just to push it out of bounds. Fantastic block from there. 81, Ruiz. Lamb. Janacek. Ruiz pumps it up the line to Ryan, who had to get down low and awkwardly landing, popping the disc out of her hands. So Shires will pick up about 30 from goal.
Very calm and collected.
Yep, they've gone with that angled formation just to open up space for an up the line throw and also a lateral. Cardi winds up the forehand. Shires gets ahead, just ahead of Lamb, pumps a big long angled forehand up. Di Warman's underneath it. Sorry, Sarah Wentworth.
Straight to her chest. How good was that pass?
It's times where you rely on those older connections. You think, all right, where's my mate? I want to get it to her. She knows what my throws are like. Knows where I want it.
Yeah, read it beautifully and was able to take it straight on her chest. Didn't have to go over her head, as we're seeing some players have to do in this wind.
Yeah. 3-all. Manly have brought it back to level, all squared.
It'll be interesting to see what they do from here, whether they can maintain this and maybe create a lead of their own, or whether we're going to go for point for a little while.
Well, we've seen them make plenty of great throws and great options, but just cold drops. No other way to describe it.
Yeah, the wind, and it is still chilly here, cold hands. We saw both players, we saw both teams doing a lot of throwing in their warm-ups, trying to get their hands warm and used to catching the disc.
So we hear the second whistle go, indicating that the pull only has a few seconds before it needs to go up. So Holly Reeve obliges, sends it deep, giving Rogue about 55 metres of territory to cover. Big shot goes up, body's underneath it. Who's going to come down with this one? Maddie Owens takes front position, locks it into the chest. Weir steps out to say she wants the backhand look. No one coming towards her. They finally oblige. Nice little short throw there and a big layout there by Bub, who
just couldn't hold on to it. As Manly get a chance, they will have to work it the full length of the field into the wind.
Good choice to throw there by Jenny Wu, but just put a bit too much on. The throw's going up straight over the top to Lee. Right on the doorstep now, only a couple of metres from goal, but heads backwards to Carpenter, pops it up over the top to Weir, and I think we'll see a lot of that later in the game too, just throw it at the gun receiver.
Yeah.
You take what you can get in these matches.
A cheeky little toss-up into the wind, knowing the receiver was there with the wingspan to bring it down.
Yeah. So you got quite a crowd around the disc there, with 4 players staying out of the end zone to try and create more space in it. And there we go. We see Weir just isolated at the front. She just planted herself, waited for eye contact with Raya Carpenter there with the disc. Said, right, let's look at each other, mate, that connection. You throw it to my advantage, I'll go get it.
Yeah,
that was her message.
And that was possible because the defender was face marking her, so wasn't looking at the disc at all, was only looking at her offensive player that she was marking, which gave her the ability to move that way, not realising the disc was coming behind her.
It gave her the advantage that she can react to the throw before a defender does.
Exactly. So Rogue pulling ahead again, 4-3, still trying to maintain that momentum that they come in with, having defeated Factory in Universe.
So Rogue kept the offensive advantage, but at this point Manly had the downwind. So you'd expect them receiving the pull, heading downwind to get this goal, but let's see if they can do it cleanly or if they need a couple of attempts. Perryman, fantastic inside shot to Moore. Moore wants to get it to that high side, but heads back to the low side. Keel looking at all her options. Warman has to go low. And the higher you are up in the air, the harder those catches of the ankles get.
And looking here, both teams sticking to person-to-person defence, even in the face of the wind.
Carpenter finds Lamb. Lots cutting away from her, not many cutting towards. Has to take the first look she had, which was Sarah Ethel. But the lateral pass is a little too lateral. Set out Tupper. Bullets the forehand straight into the waiting arms of Di Warman. Warman pumps it across the field, looking for more.
And what a pass that is from one side of the field to the other, no issue.
2 legends of the sport in Australia, Di Warman and Lacey Moore, connecting for Manly's 4th goal.
Bringing us back up to evens 4-all.
So, very well-established mix of experienced players who have been long-time residents of the region, the northern suburbs of Sydney, in Di Warman, Nikki Shires, Sarah Wentworth, with a lot of youth and experience. There's a huge youth league and social competition in Manly that produces a lot of these young players and really feeds into these teams. Their men's team competing over at Division 2 this weekend.
And speaking to Manly beforehand, they really highlighted that they wanted that good mix of experience and fresh legs and fresh eyes. Sometimes it's good to have a mix of people who know the old ways and some people coming in with new strategies, being able to throw new shapes.
It's a good way of almost rebuilding the club while also being successful. If you've got young players getting to spend a lot of time with experienced players, it really helps shape their future in the sport. Barcham, that's bounced off her ankle. Am I the only one that saw that? Okay, maybe I was. Eunice Chong. Out of the reach of Yeet. So Holly Reeve to pick up the disc. No resets near her. So she's going to have to throw this one forward, which I don't think is going to trouble her too much. Finds Utoyo. Pops it up at the line, and I think she's got that. Holly Reeve got that out of the outstretched arms of Ryan. And Manly take the lead for the first time today. 5-4.
This will be good news for them. It feels good to be the leader on the scoreboard. Watching that again.
At all 6 receivers upfield, that's risky, but if anyone can do it, Reeve can do it, and she gets the follow-up here, that reset up the line. Ryan did, so close to that.
Would have got a hand on it too, but Reeve, visionary there in the end zone. Not stopping to watch her throw, moving off the mark as soon as it was out of her hands in total preparation for that receive.
She's not a golfer. She won't stand there and watch her shot. Just go right, it's out of my hands, time to move.
That's a mark of experience there, being very tempting to stop and watch your throws. But those who have played for a while know that it's easy to get it back if you're quick off the mark.
Shires puts the hand up to indicate the pull. Manly charge it down. I'll have about 50 metres of field to defend. Carpenter pumps the long forehand up, looking for Owens. Owens is going to have to, no, she doesn't. She realised earlier, I'm going to have to dive if I want this one. Shires tries to one-hand the bullet pass, but the wind popped it up at the last second there. So Rowe get another shot, this time with about 25 to get. Lamb. Carpenter has popped up again. Shires has knocked that away, almost straight back to Lamb. A lot of the Manly players head in hands going, please don't do that to us, Nikki. Make sure of your blocks, please. Shires sends the ranging forehand down the line, looking for Amy Barnes, but too much angle on it, puts it out of her reach.
Rogue having to work it upwind now from just in front of the brick mark. Not an easy thing when the wind has gusted up.
Yeah, got about 40 minutes to go. Lamb's got the easy under. Great two-hander catch there. Sends it back inboard. It's gone out of the reach of everyone, but there's Pack underneath it. Matty Owens up over the top. Doesn't get it cleanly, but we're going to have to go back to where the throw was. Lamb's called the foul. Taryn Anderson. It seems that Anderson's not going to contest it, so it'll come back to Lamb. Everyone will have to reset back to where they were when Lamb had the disc for the throw. And we're back underway. Lamb still looking forward. There's been a violation called, so I think some players were moving before the disc was counted in. Typically what the defender will do, they'll give a big loud count, 3, 2, 1, then the tap.
But in this wind, difficult to hear, especially at the distance some of these players are.
Some players get a little bit too jumpy. Good lateral shot there. Owens not having to leave the ground for that one. Tries to put a soft throw. Those soft, short-range forehands, they are one of the hardest throws in Ultimate. And Wentworth, the wind's affected her as well. A big, long gust came along that's just made a mess of those last 2 passes. And we're back to where we were with Rogue with the disc, right next to the brick mark, so 44 from goal. Carpenter wants to wind up the forehand. They've got plenty of space on that side of the field with all their cutters standing to the bottom side of the field. Lamb's got to go up line to Carpenter, puts it out of her reach.
Manly with another shot here.
Shires has pumped it up, it's 1-on-1 out there. Bomadeary with Owens, but the wind pushes it away. It's starting to get a little frustrating for the teams. I'm not frustrated. I think this is great. I love good tussles like this.
Not a bad option for Manly, though, in this wind to just try and get it down as far as they can if there's a chance of somebody being able to get under it.
Yep.
But forcing Rogue to work it up in this wind that is picking up.
Becomes a game of territory sometimes in this wind that you'll just put it downwind and then hope that you can get an early turn to make your next go at the end zone easier. Carpenter. Laterally to Wu. Back to Carpenter, just resets the stall count. Winds the big backhand up, the inside out backhand. The forehand's not going to work. Let's give that one a shot. Fantastic throw.
Another put for territory there, I think.
Yeah, Rogue do not want to turn it right on their goal line. Shire's taking her time. Again, we're seeing this angled formation. It's giving them... They obviously don't want to attack the centre of the field at all. It's either up the sideline or straight lateral. Lateral option to Wentworth. Wentworth continues across, but it's out of the reach of Taryn Anderson. Lee. Frantic mark by Amy Chang there. She knows there's going to be heat on, but there's a pick called, I think, well before that throw. So it's going to head back to Lee.
Just going a little wide.
Players just directing back to where it actually happened. Sometimes you can be left running for a good 5 or 6 seconds after the call. You have to ask, where do you think I was when it actually happened?
Yeah,
So,
that's all about the agreement between players again.
Yeah.
Sometimes giving it your best guess about exactly where you were when it was called.
it's very common just to look at your opponent and go, this looks all right, we'll go with this. There's probably not any real desperate advantage to be gained from this. So it's going to come in, still count of 3. Lee has not got many safe options, just has to bomb it into the pack. Swatted away by Bombadiri.
Using her height to her advantage there, getting off her feet.
Shires pops the backhand over the top to Anderson. Anderson wants the reset, but Carpenter doing a number on Shires there on defense, forces an alternative option. Bombadiri coming towards it, and Amy Barnes having to have 2 cracks at that one. Can't control it. Carpenter's going to pick it up and just send it, but Shires is right on the mark to prevent that. Lateral to Lee. Keeps it going to Lamb. Lamb's wound up and cocked for that forehand and hits through the middle. Looking for Maddie Owens, but Sarah Wentworth saw that coming a mile off. And Shires is pumped and looking for Wentworth. Wentworth's turned around going, where is it? Is it not over my head yet? But it's fallen well short.
It has. Both of those quick, trying to prevent the defense being able to set up, trying to use the momentum to continue the disc.
I wouldn't be surprised to see a timeout called here by Rogue. A lot of players with hands on knees, but they are running to a different formation. They're running to a horizontal formation, so it looks like they're going to play through it. Of course, we're 35 minutes into the game.
Score is 5-4 Manly's way. This has been a long point. Fatigue will be affecting some of these throws by now.
Maddie Owens started charging long from this near sideline to open up that space, so this does look like a bit of a set play, but Lee has a clear shot. A couple of Rogue players underneath, a couple of Manly players get there, and it was Helen Epstein went up high, and straight away before the disc had even hit the ground, it was called a foul. Chang with her. I'll have a bit of a chat. Holly Halford-Smith, game advisor coming down. We'll see if we can listen in.
I just held your arms with my arms, and I felt like it felt this. Or I would have had it. I thought you lost control of this. Did you make contact? Like physically contested foul? Do you want to have a second or? That's the foul. So go back.
Did well to hear it over the howl of the wind there, but I couldn't agree exactly what happened there, so they've just except that it was a contested foul, so it'll send back to the last completed throw.
Yeah, difficult to know when you're in a pack grab like that whose arms hit what and what you were grabbing.
It's a mess of limbs and torsos and discs and things going everywhere, so it's hard to sort of recall in the moment exactly what you were doing. So it's back with Lee. Come in stalling 1, so still got almost her whole time with the disc. Owens goes laterally and Lamb's come in and Owens pulled out, bracing for the impact because Wentworth was charging in as well, and turns out no one's caught it. Shires wants that inside shot, no one's moving there. So she's looking deep at the end zone, wants someone to go to where she wants to throw it. Instead finds Anderson and Wentworth across to Chang.
Lovely look there, that inside throw.
Continue the run, 4 goals now.
Yeah, stretching it out to a 2-point lead.
And Road called a timeout after that. Very long point. I think we nearly pushed 10 minutes there on the field for these 14 players.
It's a lot for a player to be on the field that long, especially with that many turnovers, having to constantly adjust offense to defense, especially with some structure changes we saw there, switching from the 45-degree angle vertical stack into a horizontal look.
Yeah, it's not uncommon for teams just to call a timeout around the half-hour mark anyway, just to have that quick breather. Both teams have very large squads, so they're not necessarily going to be out of breath or out of legs or anything. It's just that mental reset, just to go, right, let's take a couple of deep breaths, put a line through that portion of the game, and let's go again. And Rogue will probably be saying we've just got to treat this now as if it's 0-0. We're not going to focus too much on the scoreboard now. It's a cliche, Laura, but 1 point at a time. It's so meaningful in Ultimate because it's either one team or the other getting the goal.
Yep. That's how you win games. You put your heads in together and you go, let's just get this next point. Let's just get this next point.
Play a series of games to 1.
Yep.
And claw your way back into it that way rather than focusing on having to get the next 3 or 4.
And Rogue did come from behind to take out that universe point against Factory. So not uncommon for them to be able to do it. They know they can. So won't be getting 2 down just yet.
Yeah. At this level of play, a 2-goal margin, barely anything really, because Rogue will have the offense going downwind at this point, so you'd expect them to get it in and keep it at a 1-goal margin.
Already today we've been able to see the really great range of experience on both teams, seeing some experienced hands getting around the disc more and more, but shooting to receivers newer to the game, giving them a chance with the disc.
Yeah. So you see Holly Reeve there calling the assignments, typical on the defensive line for one player to take charge and nominate who each player is going to cover in a match defense. Puts her hand up, offense have their hand up, sends the disc into play. Going to give him about 45 metres to defend. But Chung's fumbled it. Has to start a bit slower. Barcham on her own. Gets the easy under. Chung pumps the backhand, but straight into Holly Reeve, who knew that one was coming. Wants to go long herself, but opts for the shorter one. Couple of quick laterals. And once up that backhand, all the receivers are very deep, so has to go to an undercut. Cardi picks it up just above the grass. Wants that lateral movement, so has to put it high. Reeve having to work. Ryan over the top, can't get enough on it. Reeve put the bladey forehand up to Cardi, but I think the angled look the angled shot probably wasn't the right one there, Laura.
No, with this kind of wind, the face of the disc will be pushed out by the wind. Yep. So throwing into the wind, you always want to try and keep it as flat as you can.
Barcham pumps up the backhand. It's Ryan versus Reeve. And Reeve.
Huge block there, getting up.
Predicted correctly that the disc was going to drop short in the wind, so held that front position. Ryan disappointed with herself that She'll let that play out the way it was. House. Reeve pumps the forehand long. Couple of receivers there, and number 35, Kathleen Kershaw, has come in and met with Barcham. Again, that disc was, I mean, you knew that disc was going to drop short, and with players coming from all four directions, it's inevitable there was a collision. So Kershaw got her body behind it first, and Barcham, yeah, got the hands out to say it's uncontested. So Kershaw is going to have possession of that disc.
So it was a strip call and uncontested.
Ah, right.
Uncontested strip, so it's called a goal.
Well, there you go.
No need to take it back.
Of course, so it's right in the end zone. So strip.
Yep.
Yep, so yeah, claiming she had the foul call and then the contact caused her to lose it. Which is an auto goal. So it's another upward goal to Manly, and they continue their run. 7-4 now. Daniel, what do you think?
Well, I just had an opportunity to speak briefly with Bella C from Rogue. She injured her knee at the last point of the last game. I asked if it felt okay. She said it doesn't hurt, but it doesn't feel stable. So potentially some very bad news there.
Oh.
It's hard. Rogue having a few players out due to injury at the moment, not running with the full squad that they brought down.
Of course, getting late on day 2 of a 4-day tournament. That's the reason you bring these big squads, because
it's inevitable that some injuries might happen, ankles, knees. We try not to have it happen, being a non-contact sport, but sometimes ankles will roll even without contact there.
Being a completely amateur sport, all these athletes don't necessarily have proper conditioning programs and proper medical. They just have to make do with what they've got and what they know and can learn from each other. Edgar. Big ranging forehand shot. That's Pigeon. Not much coming towards her. Finally, Weir gives her an option. Weir looking to Edgar. It goes laterally instead, puts too much on it. Wentworth streaming through with that intercept. Quick dish out to Bengtson. Bengtson about 15 from goal. Not much ahead of her, so has to look backwards. Got Wentworth and Warman. Warman completely unguarded there. 10 metres from goal, centre field. Couldn't be in a better position. Fires that inside shot. The teammates explaining on the sideline, why haven't you thrown it to her yet? She's unmarked. That's Annie Longley with her first goal of the game. Manly with after a huge 6 consecutive goal run, take half.
That's lovely work there, and another one of those handler-initiated cuts. The receiver waiting to get till the disc was in the air to move to that side.
Longley just walks into the end zone completely unguarded. Rogue is saying, who's that? Who's looking after her? Turns out no one does. She gets the goal. Daniel, what are your thoughts?
Well, I had a chat with Di Warman just before half there. I asked her about the quick start by Rogue. I said, what was the plan here? She said, well, after 3 goals in a row, I would normally call a timeout. She didn't, citing their confidence in their team and the fact that they've played Rogue a few times before and they felt confident still that they were able to go on a bit of a run, and, well, it's turned into a run to take half.
Good on them. And with the event, with the players taking a break for half, we'll take a break also. We'll be back in a few minutes.
Good afternoon and welcome back. We are coming back from halftime in this nail-biter between Manly from Sydney and Rogue from Sydney. At the moment, Manly just took half.
And it was a big run to take half. Simon Talbot here with Laura Hutton, covering the 2021 Australian Ultimate Championships. Crucial match, this one. This will almost decide who will take second place in the standings.
That is true. Manly holding that position at the moment over Rogue.
With Factory, the Canberra team, also in contention. Warman working with Perryman. Out wide to Bombardieri. Manly running with just a couple of throwers with their deep receivers, and look at that, what a bomb, but Weir's eating that one up. Amy Barnes was the target. Rhea Carpenter through the fingers. Moore wanted the quick restart, but called out of it by Warman, who said, I'll take this one, thank you. About 20 metres to goal. Perryman sends the ball through the middle. Warman's just stood there and it's just popped up out of her reach. Couldn't have scripted that one. Carpenter. Janasek. Lifts it up over the top to Lamb. Lamb's got everyone running away from her, not many running towards her. Urges that to change. She puts it at the toes of Weir. Calls it foul straight away. Banks and contests straight away. Both didn't hesitate on that one. I think Banks's argument was that you'd already put that down by the time that happened. Holly Halford-Smith, our game advisor there.
I think we were both contacting each other before the other were running. Okay. So I'm going to contest that.
Well contested. It just
I'm not.
It just looks like Steph was already passing you and you took her over. That's all. That's all that means.
I tried to not collect you to clean. yeah, I think I was just in at the end. So I don't know.
I just thought you, even though you guys were...
Okay, I think it's... Yeah.
Looks like we're not going to come to an agreement.
Disc will go back to the previous thrower.
So Banks and arguing that it was incidental contact, that they just happened to be there anyway. No one really converged on each other and didn't really affect the outcome of the catch. We're obviously saying, I think it did. Yeah, not able to come to agreement, so sends the throw back. That one, nice clean collect from Weir. Mr. Reese had to Carpenter, but heads across to Janacek, but having to reach back to try and get it again. More gets told to move downfield and be a receiver instead. Perryman looks to stand to deliver, shoots, looking for Banks, and Banks is going to have to work and get this one. It's probably going to drift out the back though.
It does there. We can see Manly wanting that intensity, wanting that quick pick up and throw, but the experience of their older players kind of reeling them back in, saying, no, it's okay, we'll walk this through, we'll set it up, we'll do it properly. And
very common thing to see in Ultimate, except Lacey Moore is not a new player. she wants to get the offense going, but Carpenter puts the bomb up looking for Weir. Diane Warman can't quite get a fingertip, and it's drifted past Weir as well. So Perryman straight to Warman. Lateral to Barnes. No one coming towards Barnes, so she just puts it up, spots Bankson out of the traffic, who dishes a little rugby pass out to Warman, who wasn't ready for that one. And
no, wasn't looking, wasn't ready to receive, and suddenly there was a disc on her chest.
Bounced off the torso and hit the ground, so Janacek finds Weir. Great inside shot to Owens, but it's gone straight through her hands as well. This wind is wreaking havoc with the receivers, not the throwers there.
Yeah, just bobbling those discs up, holding them up a little longer, slightly changing their trajectory.
Yeah, we're seeing absolute bullets of throws, but hard to read as they come in hot. Warman reaching backwards for that one. We'll probably look to move this laterally. Once Perryman. Perryman keeps it going towards that high side of the field, and Bomadiri goes for the old lobster catch. Can't secure it. Carpenter running to it. She's going to want to put this one long. She's got Weir and Owens putting an absolute bullet up. Owens is there with Barnes. Barnes gets that front position and knocks it out of bounds.
Two receivers streaming deep is what you want to see for those kind of passes.
Rhea Carpenter putting up some absolute aerial assault here, sending multiple discs into the wind as if it wasn't even there. So they've got the whole field to defend now as Di Warman restarts play for Manly in the far corner. As far from the end zone as you can get. Pops it up. Bomadiri plants her feet, takes the clean catch ahead of Lamb. Barnes ahead of Owens. Warman ahead of Weir. The rogue defense there put them under all sorts of heat, and it eventually came unstuck. Carpenter on the near side of the field. The wind's died off, so expect a long shot, probably a forehand coming to this near side of the field. Can't see a path to it, so heads inboard to Weir, but not before a pick is called.
Does explain why Weir was so free in that underspace.
So Banks and Carpenter disagreeing on where the stall count is going to resume. I'm just going to ask Steve Baker there what he saw in terms of when the pick was called. It was, I think it actually happened quite some time before the throw went out. So
I think so. So then there's just the discussion, which comes back to agreement between the two players.
Banks flattening the mark. Knows that Carpenter wants that long forehand, so Max forces her to throw just a short one. Bartram and Janacek and Owens work it to the high side of the field. Janacek's got Weir streaming at her. She does. Weir's got two defenders on her. Means someone's free. She flips it up over the top looking for Lamb. Lamb's got that front position. She's taking the catch, but a pick's been called within the stack, and half the Manly players have accepted it and just walked off. The other half are staying there saying, nope, that affected. And they've retracted the call in the goal stands.
There we go. Sometimes that happens. Sometimes it's a bit of discussion to figure out exactly who was involved, what was involved.
Yeah.
But ultimately Manly deciding that the pick hadn't affected that score.
Let's see if we can happen. It happened well away from the play, but just whether we agree on... Okay, so it was... Barnes was following Owens there just in the centre of screen, but Owens arguing that she stopped her cut anyway, so it didn't really draw them into the play. So it's a fair call, and good on Barnes to recognise that and retract the call.
And that was a good pickup in that win. That disc sat high. It was coming over her head, but she managed to pull it down.
And Rogue's first goal in some time, Daniel.
Yeah, it's been a little while coming. Just speaking with Holly Reeve on the far sideline, this is to create a three-way tie.
Oh.
Factory have obviously beat Rogue, I believe it was, by 1 point in Universe. And Manly have lost to Factory. Right. So Manly need to win this game and win by a goal difference of at least 6.
Right, in order to secure that second spot in the table. Wentworth, unguarded, puts the bullet up, but keeps it too low. Into the waiting hands of Yuli Leap. Yeep. And Brie Edgar sends a long one of her own. Reeled in by Shannon Bubb on the goal line, unguarded, but turns to look back. Edgar follows up, and she's thrown it into the path of Ryan. We had a serious challenge there from the Manly defender. We think that was, not sure who that was that got off her feet there, but she's made a real go of it.
Yeah, and good grip on the disc there. Way to maintain control of that disc, even through the contact.
It was Hannah Chan there who was chasing Ryan down, and Edgar had already sized up who she was going to go for, and I guess Simone does her best to land on her and just gives her a pat on the back and says, well done, Daniel.
Out of the halftime break, speaking with some of the Rogue players, they spoke about positivity, overwhelming positivity, not necessarily getting too much in their heads with this game. They've been here before against Manly, and they can beat them, was the message.
And 2 quick goals in just as many minutes. All of a sudden makes the game very interesting again, Laura.
Yes, Rogue not letting Manly run away with this one. Easy with a 4-point goal difference to kind of get your heads down. But Rogue have done a really good job at maintaining their composure and continuing to push and work hard with the disc.
So 2 quick goals makes it 8-6. Carpenter sends the pull, going to give Manly about 45 metres of offense space. And Lamb has got the block on Shires, but Shires has called the foul. I think Lamb hasn't contested it. I think there was a bit of a slap on the hand.
Yep, uncontested foul there. Disc returning.
Oh, yep, got her foot up.
Yep.
Shires floating one back to Perryman. Looks lateral, wants to send deep now. It's going to be a high stall count, but takes a safe option back to Chang. Keeps working towards that high side. Chang puts it low and Australian had to work for, sorry, Kershaw had to work for it. Lots of receivers running away from the throwers at the moment, expecting that long throw. Amy Chang. Short to Monica Chang. Rogue running with the zone just to prevent those long throws. Mandy Lee patrolling the space out the back of the end zone, and there we go. She leads her cutter underneath the disc.
That being the first zone look we have seen in this game so far.
Owen's back to Carpenter. Carpenter with a ball looking for Barsham. It's gone up. Shires and Barsham underneath it. They've both taken a swap at it, but Amy Chang's come down with it. Shires and Chang, nice little 1-2 to gain a few metres. Chang unguarded at the moment. Carpenter finally comes in for the mark, and a bullet of a throw's gone up. Too much for Kershaw to handle.
But that zone look from Rogue proving effective.
Carpenter giving a clear backhand. Barsham has got a clear shot of the end zone looking for Ruiz.
But again, shooting that way, the wind died down. There was a lot of pace on that disc and just overshot her offensive cutter there.
Definitely the right shot to take. She was Barsham and Ruiz were both unguarded, so you can't be upset at a teammate for taking that option, even if it doesn't come off.
You can't. And Rogue here looking like they are staying with a zone look. Number 8 there poaching sort of into that free lane space.
Perriman finds Chang across to Shires. Shires has got Kershaw streaming deep with 1 or 2 players following her. She's opened up that space at the middle, allows her to put a little bit of a pot shot up. A few players come underneath it, and it bounces off 3 Rogue defenders who conversion that space. With Annie Longley, the target, unable to do a lot about it. Ruiz straight through her hands. A couple of crucial disc handling errors, and another one. Starting to really get a bit of fire in this game. Eunice Chung. Got Barsham going long, so she puts it up, but Shires is waiting there. Knocks it down. She's got a cutter streaming deep, Laura House, but the throw has drifted wide.
Into that corner we've been talking about all weekend, Simon.
Yeah,
the wind doesn't favour that corner. It will push any disc out there.
Yeah, if you're shooting towards that side, you've got to keep that throw low. Chung, fantastic lateral shot. And a call has been made. Haven't seen any hand signals, so I'm not sure what it is. Think it might be a pick.
Looks like a pick.
Manly really standing a good sort of 3 to 4 metres on that top side of their opponent, really covering that high side of the field. It's going to force the thrower to have to try and do that same sort of forward lateral throw, that 45-degree angle towards the middle of the field, targeting Lamb or Owens there, we can see.
Really,
just in the front of that formation.
Really hard to control that kind of throw in this wind. So trying to force them to throw it against the wind, hoping that it'll come out less than perfect and they might be able to get a hand to it.
Lamb getting well free for that easy lateral. Another pick has been called. Things getting a bit untidy on offense and defense. Of course, the pick rule there for everyone's safety. But of course, there, Shai is agreeing that she wasn't close enough to Lamb for that throw to be effective, so it'll remain. Third taps the disc on the ground to check it in and restart play. Chung. Owens gets just ahead of Longley. Chug's back to the backhand and sells everyone on it. Lamb now. Not much coming towards her. All the cuts are coming down this far side of the field. Ruiz finally locks one into the mitts. Bullets a forehand down the line to Owens, who was left wide open on the under, and floats it up into the hands of Mandy Lee.
Lovely work from Rogue down there. Almost all of those passes within 5 metres of that line, that sideline on the far side. So Manly doing a good job to contain the disc, but just not enough to stop that flow.
Yeah, playing just some hallway ultimate, Daniel.
Yeah, I just want to highlight Inez Ruiz there. If you want to know what it's like to play ultimate with her marking her, go put a wetsuit on that's 3 sizes too small.
Owens there, that's a fantastic flick. Hard to do that. Almost a crosswind at this point. It's now sort of pushing, yeah, it's still really pushing the wind bottom left to top right of your screen.
Yeah.
So Rogue, 3 goals since half time. They've brought it back to 8-7 and they've got the downwind advantage, Laura.
Oh, it's going to be hard to stop them this time. Manly really have their work cut out for them, have shown that they can do it before, have shown that they can force the turn. It'll be interesting to see whether Rogue come down in another one of their zone looks we saw for the first time this game. Quite popular this weekend with the wind, but both of these teams backing their defensive skills, backing their individual ability to shut down another player.
We're with the Paul. This is not going to be pretty ultimate. I'll warn you viewers now. What's important though is getting the goal. Warman wants to move it laterally, finds Bengtson. Can't go forward. Finally finds Reeve. Reeve loads the forehand up, keeps it low for Warman, puts it to the ground. Edgar sprints to the disc. No one guarding her. This is a mistake. She wants to get that out, but no one's moving for her. Weir finally comes towards the disc. Weir halfway from goal. 30 minutes to go. Pops the forehand up. Finds Ryan. Ryan puts the loopy backhand up, but Reeve again, it's dropped short. I think she was finding Molly Valancourt at the back there. Reeve picks it up, quick restart. Bengtson. Not much happening ahead of her, so it looks back to Reeve. Finds her up the line. Kept it just in bounds and sends the cannon looking down the sideline. Can she get there? Goes big.
Oh, leaves her feet, but can't quite get her hands on it.
Alicia Bomadiri was urged by her teammates to get there just to make it. Have a go at it, make a bit of it.
Such an effort to keep up with the pace of that disc, but just outside of her hands means Rogue will have a turn on offense coming down the field with the wind.
Rogue stacking all their players on the near side of the field, isolating 2 cutters out in the space. Angela Pigeon and Kayo Ware. They've gone deep to Pigeon, but not the cleanest of throws, and cleaned up by Di Warman. Reeve goes to ground to collect it. Wants the lateral, ends up hitting up the line to Itayo. Reeve. That's to Wentworth and straight across for the easy goal to Taylor Cardy. A nice little 3-pass combo
A lovely little dump and swing combination, looking backwards, moving the disc forwards to the lateral side of the field and then straight into the end zone. That's straight out of a drill.
Yeah, and it was recognition that the Rogue team were really covering that top side of the end zone. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4 defenders in that space there, 5, 6. And it just meant that this close sideline was wide open and Taylor Carty had a paddock to work in.
Yeah, that lovely breakthrough that we're about to see here from Atoyo, just really opening the field up for Manly, allowing them to get back on the board.
So here the first whistle is 45-second, the 15-second warning for offense. So Manly to pull downwind, Rogue having to go upwind to bring it back to a 1-goal margin after a run of 3 out of half. We've ticked over 71 minutes in the game, just under half an hour go to the time cap. I think we'll get to time cap the way this game's been going.
I think so too. These have been long points.
Carpenter, formerly a WA player. League is a bit of a shove on the mark there. Shires says that's an offensive foul, and League arguing that she just had the right to that space, but contested offensive foul. I think that's the right call, but it stays with Lee regardless.
Violation there as people start moving before the disc is checked in.
Everyone just really wanting to get moving. No one wants to stand around for too long.
High intensity game this one, close matchup.
As we see, Rogue players really spread out at the moment, all over the field. Lamb. Ball's into the middle, a few players there, but the run-through block from Amy Barnes there. Shires picks it up, sends the backhand out looking for Barnes. Barnes has to turn around, has dropped it right into her waiting hands at her knees. Dumps to Richards, Richards pops it up over the top. Bit of pick has been called. So that'll come back to Amber Richards.
Oh, a long way back.
Oh, a long way back. So the pick up in some time ago, so it's going to be back with Shires. Already setting to 2 passes earlier.
Before that long shot.
Players discussing with their opponents. I don't think they're going to get exactly where they were, but an approximation will do.
As long as both players agree that it's roughly fair.
We've still got Barnes one out at the back there with Jenny Wu. So a few other players, Hannah Chen also heading long. Moore to Anderson. Well worth having 2 goes at that one. Shires. Loads up the forehand to the run through D by Branda Lamb. Ahead of Lacey Moore.
Lovely work there, good positioning and good recognition of where the disc was going and making sure she had a bit on it.
Cut it off at the pass there. So the Chung and there's Ruiz. Branda Lamb finds clear space, but can't clasp the hands around it.
No, Rogue working out of a horizontal stack there. Lots of cuts going in and out, but just not enough.
Manly've got the angle formation again, so they can mostly to move it off the sideline. It's gone too far. A couple of numbers underneath at 1, 2, 3 connections. Moore's called the foul, but I can't see who that is. It's she's called the foul on. She was claiming that, hey, I was stood there doing nothing. I can't have really done much to avoid it. So see another look at it. I think Ruiz there, and so the game advisors will come in.
I felt hands and I felt a disc. I don't think I pushed into anyone.
I felt no contact. I didn't touch anyone. Were you blind for the same spot?
I feel like potentially that was the situation.
Yeah, I definitely wasn't hand there. I didn't. Yeah.
You first.
I felt, oh yeah, I felt hands and I felt hands.
Are we happy with that?
I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sorry,
So what's the outcome?
Contested foul. To me, that looks like that's just incidental. No one actually moved. Ruiz hadn't actually moved into the contest. She was just there when the Manly players have landed, and she's got the right to that space. So I don't think that's the right call. Shires puts the looping disc up.
Throwing for territory there.
Yeah.
There were players under it, but I don't think Manly will be unhappy about playing defence this close to their own end zone.
So Eunice Chung to pick up the disc. She's very, very proficient at getting it out of that corner so far today. Let's see if we see more of it. Looking for Ruiz, heads up the line to Lamb, and Shires.
Providing a lot of pressure there, not necessarily on the right side for the disc,
Yeah,
but just her presence.
Enough to get the turnover. Wentworth. Nice little inside backhand. Richards tells her teammates what she wants to do, and Chan. Hannah Chen going over the top. Reads the signal well from Amber Richards.
She did, and stayed with that disc, even though it probably didn't go where it was intended, probably a little more central sitting.
Yeah.
But managed to stay with it, read it over her head, and came down with it. Widening Manly's lead out to 3 points for 10-7.
Of course, Manly just getting the downwind, so still retain the advantage, but we've seen Rogue have a bit of a run before.
Like we said, Rogue came from behind to take that match against Factory. So it's not unprecedented for them to do it again.
No. So 3 goals, I reckon, is that sort of limited the margin of, you think, any more than that this late in the game, you'd be thinking we're just about done. But 3 goals is doable because they're on offense now. So put this one in, it's only 2 and 1 defensive break after that.
And only looking at 22-ish minutes left on the time clock.
That's going to be a factor for sure.
If Rogue can score a couple here, keep the score low.
Yeah.
When we hit that time cap, they're in with a real chance. If they let Manly get another couple, it'll be difficult to defend.
Yeah, it'll push it out, just about out of reach. It's crucial that they just put this one in. Nice high grab by Chung there. Flirting with danger, pumps the backhand up. Who's underneath it? Shannon Bubbs there chasing. Holly Reeve coming in, cuts it off at the pass for another intercept. Laura House now, forward to Itoyo. Itoyo has just patrolled that whole top sideline of the field today. Getting free at will. Perryman. Good shot up to Chang. Chang leans back, pumps the forehand up. And Weir's gone early. Leaving Itoyo there to catch the 2-footer goal. And don't her teammates love it? What a catch that has been.
Excellent work there to maintain her position, even with the taller defender coming at her.
And the support for Manly growing on the sideline.
Looking at that again.
That's a huge goal in the context of this game, Laura. That's put the margin out to 4 goals.
It sure has. As we watch this replay, the other defender going up early.
Weir's just going to just wrong-footed herself. Went up too early and the disc bobbled a bit too long. Itoyo just planted herself there and hoped for the best. And
she did just a little hop up, 2 hands on the disc, and took it all the way down with her.
Just found her position, and wouldn't you know it, she's got 2 hands to it first. We've got a hand to it as well, but straight away acknowledge that it defaults to the offense in that regard. So
it does.
Just a simple nod to say, yep, I got done.
That's it. And now a 4-point lead for Manly. This is huge.
Well, scoring that quickly upwind has really changed things, because we were talking a moment ago about time cap, but now that that point was short, we're not just about to tick over to 80 minutes, and it's 4 goals remaining for Manly. And inside 20 minutes, not that big an ask.
It's not, especially with the momentum that we felt from that last point, everybody on their feet.
I think quite soon it'll become a story of the winning margin. We heard from Daniel Clinton before that they're looking for a winning margin of around 6 goals to secure that second spot. Edgar pumps the forehand up. Ryan underneath it. In comes Warman looking hot. And 1, 2, 3, 4. No!
Oh.
Valancourt can't control it before that edge hits the deck. Oh, so close.
Managing to gain control after the bounce, but unfortunately once the disc has touched the ground, it is out and it is a turnover.
Warman and Ryan are having a chat here. I'm not sure. I don't think there's been a call as such. I think they're just having a discussion on...
To Simo that I think she dropped the original thing and then I came in. It's just whether I blocked her from like a follow-up.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't have a second bid at it, for sure.
But I don't know what that would be.
Do you feel like you...
I mean, I feel a bit like we were all in the general mix of it.
Yeah.
It's whether it was...
I mean, I did feel contact from behind, but I mean... I don't know. I don't know if it was in the act of trying to catch it or after.
Yeah.
So.
Do you have a thought on that?
I didn't get a good vision. Okay. I could only really see sort of after. Yeah.
But then actually your player dropped it.
She dropped it as well. So like,
I mean,
let's have a turn. We'll have it as a turn. Yeah.
Good chat there between Ryan and Warman. There wasn't actually a foul call as such. I think they were just a bit, let's have a chat and see if this was anything. And they agreed there just in the end. Well, it was a drop anyway afterwards, so let's just let the turnover stand. Bengtson getting high. Wild swing of that forehand and lands in the hands of Bombardieri. She's got Shayna Strachan one out in the end zone, but decides to head backwards to Wentworth. Hops back after the travel call. Warman. Wentworth now. About 30 from goal. Bullets the forehand through the middle. She's found Holly Tupper there, but pick was called. And we think it might have been with Tupper, but Tupper saying, well, were you following me though? They've agreed in the end that she was, so we'll reset to the last completed pass. So back to Wentworth.
So we wait now as they discuss what count the disc will come in on, how long ago the pick was called.
It's coming in on stalling 2. So Wentworth still has a bit of time to look upfield before she looks for a reset to maintain possession. Warman winds up the backhand, but switches to the forehand instead. Few underneath it, and Tupper just sticks her hands out and says, let's see if I get this, and puts a terrific inside shot up to find Sarah Wentworth for Manly's 12th goal.
That is a beautiful put there, that inside break, just opening up the break side of the field, referring to the side where the defensive downfield players aren't standing.
We see there, Tupper caught it on the goal line, but her first contact was out, so called a straddle, so she needs to put her pivot foot outside the end zone. Oh, picked a very narrow gap between two defenders there.
She did, but the throw had the right shape, arcing around, giving her player the advantage there against the defensive player.
Yeah.
Beautiful, and a 5-point lead now, 12-7 to Manly.
Now the story becomes the goal difference. They've got a 5-goal margin now, but still need to get a minimum 3 to end the game. And Rogue, well, they can still find themselves in contention. I think the place you don't want to finish is 4th, because then that will place you in a semi-final with Ellipsis, who haven't even looked like losing this weekend.
They have been very strong, very dominant, very determined to keep their title as undefeated at Australian Ultimate Championships.
Lee Lines up for the backhand, puts it up over the top into space, and Maddie Owens reads it beautifully. Meets the fall of the disc. She pops it up over to Lee. He's sprinted 50 metres to have a second go. That she's over the top looking for Ruiz, but
Reeve in the mix, getting a hand to it and guiding that disc to the ground.
This fading away from Ruiz, trying to get a clean hand on that trailing edge. It's a tricky business. Reeve, Utoyo. It's just worked so hard this whole game. Every time she's been on the field, Barnes has a couple looks up the line, but
no call. That looks like a drop there.
This has just come out of her hands. Oh no, she's, yeah. That's the problem with convincing fakes like that, is sometimes you fake yourself out. And the bomb's gone up, and Maddie Owens
puts one on the board.
Taking a clean catch, gets it ahead of Taylor Carty. And Rogue with their 8th goal.
Yeah, and that was great spirit there from Manly. The instant recognition that, nope, there was no contact. That was just a drop. Unfortunate, but it does happen when you're faking that hard to get your defender to move around in front of you.
You see that throw again from Carpenter. Dead straight.
Owens having great position there. A good effort from the defender, losing their feet.
Look at this though, backhand absolutely parallel to the sideline. Great form from Raya Carpenter there. And Owens is nonchalant as you like.
Very calm, cool and collected.
You know, Vince Lombardi quote, when you get to the end zone, act like you've been there before. And Owens a regular visitor to the goals. Ware's popped that one up, and that's going to drift very, very close to the sideline. In fact, it's fading late and lands out of bounds. So Manly to take the offensive advantage and start play centre field with 44 metres to goal. Perryman taking the time now. Interesting, they've got no reset here. They've put Di Warman at the front. Di Warman and Lacey Moore. They've isolated them as a one-on-one and just made this a simple, almost training drill. Warman. Not much coming towards her. Laterals to Moore. Moore finds Perryman. Great inside shot to Warman. They've isolated just the 3 handlers to move it downfield, while the receivers head deep and pull the extra defenders out of there. Ryan has a look at it, can't get to it, and yeah, moving around her as Warman pivoted for that backhand. So an accidental foul. Ryan acknowledging straight away that was her fault, and play will restart with Warman. About 20 from goal. Looking at Perryman, covered ably by Perryman. Weir has a look at House there. House with no reset option, has to look forward or lateral, but Perryman provides her the safe option. Wentworth. Inside, bullet shot. Looking for Laura House. Laura House
on her knees, getting through, trying to get control of that disc, but it just hit her chest.
Yeah, sliding in just to make sure she gets her body and 2 hands behind it to try and make it clean, but doing that in one motion while also focusing on the disc is hard. Weir gets up for the high catch. Got Ryan coming towards her for a big gain. A couple of cutters heading deep, but Ryan just wants a short one. Weir up the line to Ryan. Sends the forehand down the line to the advantage of Yu Lee Yeep.
Great.
For Rogue's 9th goal, 2 in a row. And now we're back to that 3-goal margin, Laura. The narrative has changed once again. That can Rogue keep this going and launch the comeback?
Well, that's it. They have to maintain this now for a few points in a run. Edging closer and closer to time cap, so they can't rely on getting to 15. Because if we hit the score cap, if we hit the time cap, it'll be all Manly will need is 1 goal.
Of course. Daniel What have you got for us?
Well, it doesn't matter from here. Manly cannot allow another goal. If they allow another goal, they're going to go down on goal difference. So from here, Manly actually need to score the next 3.
So where would that put them on the ladder, do you think, Daniel?
I believe it'll put them in 3rd.
Oh, okay, right. So potentially 2nd place, and the women's pool play continues tomorrow, so it won't be confirmed till the morning, but we're fairly confident we know who the top 4 is going to be. Just in what order?
That is true.
I think Rogue are going to have the edge on fitness over some of the more experienced Manly players. I was just watching that last point. Simone Ryan absolutely had Di Warman's number and controlled that offense. Reeve puts the big pull out, and Ruiz goes for the big swat, big stylish defensive swat. Completely missed it though, but it didn't matter. It hit the ground with no one else near it.
Yeah.
Carpenter, unguarded, finds, looking for Owens. Owens has got a couple to contend with, goes full stretch, gets it out in front of her. There's been a call here. I think it might have been an offensive receiving foul. Cardi just wanted to have a chat about what happened here, and no, retracted call.
Yep.
I think just both conversion on the point of the disc. No one really at fault. And Chung's cold dropped it on that reset play.
Yeah.
Shires to pick up. He's got Cardi absolutely streaming deep off the left of screen there. And another one pass turnover. Chang unable to grab that one.
Yeah, and we can see Rogue moving a little bit quicker downfield, showing that they've maybe got a little bit more gas in the tank than the Manly players who were walking at the last transition.
Reeve knew that was coming out of Raya Carpenter's hand. It was almost as if the throw was to her. Shires. Bengtson working it to this near sideline. Bombadiri. I'll move lateral again. Plenty of space on that open side. Cardi finds space for the big gainer. She's got a couple of options deep, but opts to keep conservative. Holly Reeve moving upfield. Madden Owens is there to make a play on it. Couldn't do it safely though, so pulled out. Reeve looking for the reset. No one's moving for her. Finally pops it up to Steph Bengtson. And finally finds someone to charge it straight to that front corner. The simplest of simple end zone plays.
There was some beautiful movement there from the Manly team. You could really see their connections, looking at each other, predicting each other. Just beautiful offense, moving it across the width of the field and then back before shooting into that corner of the end zone.
Steph Bengtson just putting the bullet up straight into the hands of Alicia Bombaderi. Chantel Jones on the sideline.
We can see over here a great example of sideline communication from both teams. Not only are both teams really involved on the sideline, but what they're communicating to their players is actually really useful information. It's great to see.
Of course, that sideline presence can be a real asset for you on defence. Be the eyes in the back of your head.
Exactly. It changes it from 7 people on the field to, 14 sets of eyes on that disc. And on the other players, being able to feed information back and forth.
So the story now, can Rowe get one more goal and possibly do enough to secure 2nd place in the standings? High floaty pull. Brieger's taken her time to get to it, but Chung, big gainer to Ryan. Ryan giving a nod to Eka, saying where she wants the reset to go, but Chung provides a second option. She barely gets that disc out of her hand. Chung able to clean it up, and a pick call from the stack. Laura and Edgar. So a quick chance for Rowe to grab a breath. So they're going to readjust their positioning a little bit just to where the pick happened, not necessarily where the call happened, but where the pause in play actually occurred. Showing another big gainer to Weir. Fantastic grab. Pumps along looking for Simone Ryan. It drops right on her head. And Rogue get that 10th goal, that crucial 10th goal that we think may end up being the difference
between a second and third place for these two teams.
So Daniel, what does that do?
That means that Manly, they're going to have to go and play Ellipsis in a semi-final. It's not going to be what they wanted, that's for sure. Ellipsis have been looking very dominant this tournament. And well, Rogue, they've done enough. They're going to see themselves with an easier semi, but it's still going to be hard work to get to the final.
But there's still one more pool play round tomorrow. Is that going to be affecting anything, do you think?
Well, we'll have to wait and see.
This, of course, being the 5th round of pool play. Sorry, the 6th? No, 5th.
7th? Hold on.
We've got to play 7 games. We know they've got one tomorrow.
5th.
5th.
The 5th round.
5th round.
It is the 7th time slot this weekend,
yes,
but
yes.
the 5th round of pool play. And the women's division here are playing a round robin, so they will play every team in this division.
All 8 teams playing each other head to head. Shires restarts play. We're not sure if Manly know anything about the narrative we've just put forward. We think they're just playing to win more. They've changed their offensive style a little bit. They've basically camping all their players on this near sideline to open up the space for cutters on the far sideline and moving it back into traffic this way. They've Madam Ilibet and Ryan has jumped it in. What a throw from Eunice Chong, just picked it up and sent it straight down the middle of the field.
Ryan beating out 2 defenders there to collect that disc.
13-11 now to Rogue. And again, 2 quick goals in a row. We know they can do it. Daniel.
Yeah, it does. Manly are well aware of the mathematics of this, but they still do need to win. You know, this is assuming that they beat the team they're supposed to beat tomorrow. That might not be the case. It may work out that way. Who knows? But they do need to win this game to control their own destiny.
So there's still a lot to play out.
That's it. And Manly having the mentality, I think, of win this point, win this game.
Yep.
You've got to look broadly at the game, but when you're on the field, all you care about is getting that next pass into your hands and the next one and scoring that next point. You can't look too far forward, otherwise you'll really affect your mentality.
Yeah. Clock ticks away at 98 minutes. Our clock, not the official game clock by any means, just an indicator only, but we creep closer to time cap. Of course, if Manly put this one in, it's a game to 15 regardless. Warman stops the roll to get offense started straight away. Defense is locked in before they've even got the first pass on. They've gone for a zone look. Perryman hasn't got a reset, but Warman eventually drifts back. Cuts through the middle. Chung can't quite get a hand on it before Otoyo gets there first. Laterally moved. Just in front of us here at the commentary booth on the sideline. Big lateral gainer to Wentworth and Bengtson. As we hear the time cap siren go, so our clock's a little slow. And Warman has absolutely sent a bullet straight to the end zone to Taylor Cardy. It's almost as if she heard the siren go and think, right, score this one now. But as we said, regardless, it's a game to 15.
That's it. Manly getting around that point. Big voices from the sideline, big energy going into that. Just pure excitement at getting that goal and being one step closer to the win here.
So 14-11 the score to Manly, game to 15. As we've heard earlier, this will definitely make some changes to the standings. We're going to have I think we'll end up with a few teams on 4 wins. 3 losses, with head-to-head and goal difference tiebreakers will come into calculations, but that's a job for tomorrow. The job for now is for Manly to take the disc off Rogue and close it out for Rogue. It's 4 goals in a row. Not impossible, but not likely.
Rogue are coming on to the offence, coming downwind. Both advantages there. But we have seen Manly have the skills to force a turnover and also the skills to punch in an easy goal upwind.
Reeve to pull. Sends it long and flat down the middle. Pin them back as far as they can. They have to go back and they're in their own end zone. Wentworth and Moore put that early pressure on the throw. Lots of heat on each throw here. Edgar with Moore on the mark. Sends it wide, a huge layout bid from Barb to keep that disc moving. Weir right on the sideline, 30 from goal, pumps the backhand up. Otoyo gets a finger on it, falls in the lap of the Rogue receiver, Barcham. Reset. Chung has to go full stretch and she finds Weir in the front corner. And Rogue celebrate as they keep the game alive, keep the scoreboard ticking over. It's 14-12.
14-12, and that D there, not quite enough, gets a finger to it, but it maintained its path and was able to be collected by the Rogue player regardless.
We saw some exasperated faces on the Manly defenders there. They were certain this was going to be it. This was going to be done. If they put 100% to this point, they can wrap it up, but Rogue have said, not on our watch.
A lot of intensity on the Rogue team there. We saw them have to hang back a little bit as the pull hung in the air, normally allowing them to get trapped and interrupt that early flow. But Rogue persisting through it, finding the options, creating the flow themselves, moving it all the way down the field for a clean offensive point.
14-12 the score. Manly need 1 goal to win. Rogue need 3. An early block here is what they need. Weir sends a pull up, plenty of hang time. Dyer Warman takes her time, lets it hit the ground. She's in no rush at all. Tupper, Warman. Looks off the first cut. She's looking long towards the end zone, just keeps it moving. Pumps it down the sideline, looking for Barnes. It's floated wide. Matty Oz is going to get there, but into the hands of Lacey Moore. And Manly take the win, 15-12.
Amazing put there, amazing job by Moore. A disc I don't think intended for her, but she saw it early enough that she read it and got under it.
I think that Dyer Warman would have known that Lacey Moore would have been floating in the back there. Multi-time Australian women's representatives, those two teams. And what a fantastic game, and well-spirited too. Both played in the respect for the sport, respect for opponents.
Some great discussions there on all the calls. The game going to Manly, but Rogue staging comeback after comeback and able to show that they're able to go on a run just as easily.
An amazing, fun game to watch, and we hope you have fun at home too on Kayo Sports. The Australian Ultimate Championships. We're going to send it down to Chantel Jones. Is there a Sarah Wentworth from Manly?
Sarah Wentworth, great game. What are your thoughts?
Well, it's pretty chilly in Canberra, and so the wind did make a difference to the prettiness, I guess you could say. Probably a lot more turns than you would usually see between these two teams, but I mean, it's just so much grit and determination out there. I'm sure the audience could tell.
What do you think that your team achieved most out of this game that you were looking to work towards?
Well, we came off a slightly disappointing loss yesterday, so I think it's just been a really good sort of morally uplifting experience to kind of know that you can come out and face difficult opposition and difficult conditions and still come out on top and just like fight to the very end.
I was chatting to Amy yesterday about how your club is really focusing on developing strong and powerful women, and it's great to see that out there.
Yeah.
Do you have anything to add to that?
I think that there's a couple of people in the club who really take on board the development, particularly in the Manly area specifically, and they just put in so much effort, and it's just wonderful to see this new generation of women coming through with the same kind of fight and the same kind of desire to play. It's, for someone who's sort of in the twilight of their career, it's just so wonderful to see this new generation.
You can't tell that you're in your twilight of your career. You look great out there.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your time, Sarah. Congrats on the win.
Pleasure,
and
thanks.
enjoy the recovery tonight. We look forward to seeing you tomorrow.
Awesome.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. We're back to Simon.
And thank you very much for joining this game. We're going to be back very soon with our 4th game of the day.
Wouldn't you want people to encourage each other instead of judge each